if I do this in a balanced way, it doesn't feel all consuming. It doesn't feel completely unattainable. And I'm seeing the scale change. I just became aware of like how much my life was changing as I was losing weight because of the confidence it was giving me to see something shift.
In a world obsessed with convenience and quick fixes, I'm approaching wellness differently. After healing from chronic illness by overhauling my entire life, I'm now on a mission to help women like me to thrive and not just survive. I'm Kristen, and you're listening to the OrganiMama Podcast. Ladies, real quick question. Have you ever done a full face of makeup and then thought, wait, is this stuff actually okay to be on my skin? Because it turns out that long-lasting makeup sometimes just means it won't come off, ever, including the chemicals. That's why I love Crunchy makeup. It's clean, toxin-free, high-performance makeup that actually works. Like, we're talking legit coverage, perfect blending, and skin that doesn't feel like it's suffocating. So if you want to try makeup that looks good and aligns with your crunchy but realistic lifestyle, check the show notes, click the link, and try Crunchy. New customers can use code ADVOCATE15 for 15% off their first order of $50 or more. Same glow, way less side-eye from your nervous system. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the OrganiMama Podcast. Today, I am here with a friend of mine named Mallory Henderson. She is amazing, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear from her heart today. Just a little intro about Mal. So Mallory and her husband, Sam, have been married 13 years, and they have been blessed with their miracle child, Judah, who is now 8 years old. Judah came amidst countless miscarriages and a years-long infertility journey. Years of various diagnoses and health protocols taught Mal to advocate for her own health and finally begin treating her body with the nourishment she knew it deserved. Mallory and Sam built their little homestead a few years ago in the North Dallas area, and it has been such a gift to them. Over the past year and a half, Mal has been able to use her own health journey to inspire women who also crave good nourishment as they raise their families well. Welcome, Mallory. It is so great to have you here today.
I am so pumped to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay. I have so many questions I want to ask you and so many things I would just love for you to share with our listeners today. But first and foremost, can you tell us a few other fun facts about yourself?
Oh my gosh. You didn't tell me that was coming, but yes, I can. I have 2 donkeys. I feel like that's fun.
Donkeys.
2 donkeys. Yes.
Like hee-haw donkeys.
Yes. Yeah. They're literally like giant puppies though. But I never thought I'd have a donkey in my life. So, and now that we have 2, that's special. What else? I feel like I really love pickleball. I don't know if that's fun or not, but I play it a lot.
You don't look old enough to enjoy pickleball.
See, that's the thing. Like, people just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. Okay, Kristen, have you ever played pickleball?
Once. I'm terrible. Literally terrible.
I feel like you would love it. It's a weird thing. Like, people, it's like a cult following situation. Like, but it is mostly old people, but I feel like I have an old soul, so it works out.
I can see that. Okay. So you guys live on a homestead. I followed along a little bit on your journey, and you have been posting content on Instagram for about how long?
Oh my gosh, for a long time. Not about our homestead, but I've been on Instagram for 10 years probably.
Yeah. And you have like a pretty loyal community that shifted a lot in the last couple of months, right?
Yeah. In the last 5 months, which I feel like you went first. So you know all about that.
Yes. Tell everybody how many followers you had for the previous couple years and then where you're at now.
Okay. So I was at 25-ish thousand followers for a good 6 years, like just no growth. I also wasn't really clear on like really what I wanted to talk about for so long, which I feel like a lot of people go through. But whenever I really honed in and like got very specific about food and nourishment and all those things, I think we're at like 170,000.
That's
and
so cool.
Like, it is so cool. It happened in like I think in like February, a reel finally popped off. And it was the rest is history. I feel like we've been running 100 miles an hour since then.
Mal does the coolest recipe reels. We'll definitely link her profile below in the show notes so you guys can go check her out. But I love her recipe reels. They're so fun. And I don't know, you just make it so fun. And you also have the most adorable kitchen. So tell everybody just give a little backstory on your house.
Okay, so my house, I feel like we don't even, I just looked outside and it's pouring rain, which is always fun with a bunch of dogs and donkeys. Sorry. My house is 1,600 square feet, so we call it a cottage now because we're like, I don't even feel like we're able to say house because it's just the way the format is lovely for us. There's just 3 of us. And so it works so well for us. But it is very, very small. And so it's been a gift in that, like, because I feel like it just like keeps us from accumulating and all of those things. But it's also been interesting and tricky to like navigate the smaller floor plan and whatnot. But we built on family land 3 years ago. So we lived with my in-laws for like almost 2 years when we were building. We decided to do a custom home. And so it took a long time. It took a really long time. But we live next door to my in-laws now, and we have family over all the time. It's super fun. Lots of animals. We've tried raising our own pigs, and we did that, and then we processed them. So they're in my freezer right now.
Yes.
And I made the mistake of like buying the pigs thinking they would be pets, and then my husband was like, they can't stay here forever. And I was like,
did you go to therapy for that?
Well, I probably should because whenever I like make recipes and stuff, I mean, I literally named these pigs Walter and Ellen. Like they were hilarious.
Wait, what were the names? Walter and Eleanor?
And Eleanor, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so Ellie and Walter, like they knew how to sit. I taught them how to sit. Like they were awesome. They like pigs are actually super smart, which I learned. And I think I felt even worse about it after I learned that. But anyways, now that I'm cooking a ton, I pull bacon out of the fridge and I'm like, I don't call it bacon, I call it Walter. And like Eleanor, like it's hard for me to like, it's a weird mental situation that I have to like, I don't know. It's bizarre. Anyways. So yeah, we have lived here now in this house for about 1.5 years and we love it so much.
And you guys like did the whole thing custom pretty much, right?
Yes, we did. And in hindsight, I don't know if that was like the wisest move just because it took so much longer. But now that we're here, I'm like, okay, this is really nice. Like we got to pick what we really wanted. And to me, like quality over quantity every day. Like I wanted a smaller home with the things that I knew like I really, really wanted inside instead of like a massive home that I had to clean and decorate and all the things. So It really has worked out really well.
Right. Okay. So let's backtrack a little bit on your life. I mentioned this in your introduction, but you guys have been through many, many years of walking through health and infertility stuff. I want you just to kind of open the floor up for you to share any of the background that you feel like would be helpful for people to kind of understand where you're at in your current health, spiritual journey currently.
So yes, it's for a long time, it was hard to like talk about this, but I feel like as time has gone on, even though I would say in a lot of ways, we're really still in the middle of it. Like we haven't seen the redemption that we hope to Earthside. I hope and I pray that our story is able to just encourage, if nothing else, just encourage like someone who is in the middle, who hasn't seen the end of their valley. But yeah, it started. So I'm 35. I just turned 35 and I got married young. I got married when I was 22, deeply in love and giddy and so naive to life. In my mind, I thought like, I don't know. I just had never really endured much hardship, to be honest. I feel like I had been fairly protected. I lived a very like middle class, just like easy, I feel like life. But when I was 22, right before my wedding, one of my very best friends died by suicide. And it was literally like, I think 3 months before Sam and I got married. And I remember having to process that. And I like remember, and she wasn't a believer. And so that was an extra added layer of like, whoa, like what, how do I make sense? You can't really make sense of suicide at all.
Yep.
But as a 22-year-old who was like in the thick, I had a business, I had a wedding photography business, and I was in college and I was planning a wedding. And it was kind of just this perfect storm of events that I didn't realize at the time, but I think I was on birth control. I was on birth control like starting 6 months before my wedding, leading up to, and for that first year of our marriage. And that is when things got really, really ugly, really, really fast. I was shooting a wedding and I had my first panic attack. I went to the ER. I had no idea what anxiety was. And really, it's not something a lot of people talked about. Social media was not nearly as prevalent. Like I had no idea. I thought I was dying. I genuinely thought I was dying. So long story short, that got really acute. Like the anxiety got very, very acute very fast. And I think that the trauma of that year mixed with the hormonal changes and things like that just created in me a storm of intense anxiety. So it got so bad that I told my husband, my sweet, precious 23-year-old husband, who was like just trying to like figure life out, one day at a time, who's like, who are you? This is not who I married. I asked him to drive me to the Pavilion in Amarillo, Texas, which is essentially where it's like a mental health hospital. I was like, I don't trust myself. I don't understand what's going on. And they ended up sending me to a doctor who day of no blood work, nothing other than I sat with him for maybe 20 minutes. He prescribed me 2 antidepressants and he prescribed me a benzodiazepine. And at the time, again, had no idea really what that was, but turns out it's a highly addictive medication that should never be prescribed for more than 2 weeks. And I should say, like right out of the gate, I'm a huge believer in Western medication. I think that it is a miracle. I think that when used correctly, as with most things, it can be something that is like unbelievably helpful and life-giving. And so I will say, like, I am glad that I had it at the time, but I had no instruction. I really had no understanding of what it was doing. And I became very, very addicted to lorazepam, or Ativan is what it's called more probably commonly. But so entered into a full-blown prescription drug addiction at age 24, 25, and simultaneously was, ironically enough, a missionary with my husband. We were overseas, we were doing ministry, and I was navigating this addiction. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to take a bunch of this to like have fun and like recreational. Like it was like, I can't function if I don't continue to take more and increase my dose. And I literally can't function. It wasn't like I was like getting high for fun.
You were like reliant on them to like even live.
Yes. Like literally, if I didn't take it, I was face down on my bed all day long. Couldn't like honestly wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
And so, sorry, I'm not trying to be super long-winded, but I do feel like that is a part of my story I don't share super often that is really important, because I think a lot of people get themselves into accidentally like these situations. And so my health just basically when I was 23 took a huge nosedive, was diagnosed with anxiety, depression. My hormones were everywhere. And we started trying for a family after we got back from where we had been in Africa. And so after we got back from Africa, and I slowly with a doctor, praise the good Lord, was able to wean off of lorazepam. And we had already had a pregnancy loss in between all of that. And then we went again overseas, came back, and we got pregnant with Judah. So I had one later miscarriage, about 13 weeks. And then Judah came, and he was a total miracle. My pregnancy was honestly like very textbook with him up until the end. It was a harder delivery and recovery, but it was absolutely a miracle nonetheless. And since then, we have had 2 more miscarriages, followed by now 7 years of infertility. So 7 years of negative pregnancy tests, multiple doctors. We never went to IVF, but we did everything short of that. And then I would say even, past that, like we literally went to Michigan to find a reproductive immunologist who could like look at all of my blood work. And I was diagnosed with some things, but his treatment did not work. And so, yeah, it has just been like, in a nutshell, over time, over like being prescribed some. I mean, Kristen, I can't even tell you how many medications I've been prescribed, like 35 plus. Have I taken all of them? No, especially after what I learned with the first round of prescription medications. But over time, I ended up gaining over 100 pounds. And I had been a very healthy weight my whole life. I think I was I was very healthy when I got married. And I found myself moving into this home last year, looking into the mirror and literally not recognizing myself. I was literally a different person. I had the lowest energy I'd ever had. I had the lowest confidence I had ever had. I felt so overwhelmed all the time. It was just really bad. And I looked at my husband and I was like, something has to change. Like either that or I'm going to slowly die. I literally felt like I was slowly killing myself with food. And so we had a very, very long conversation about how food, and I truly do believe it can either kill you or it can heal you.
Can I ask you, what was like a regular day of eating like for you at that time?
Oh my gosh. So I have some reels about this, and it actually is wild because I knew I was overeating and I knew I wasn't choosing the best things, but I was never necessarily just binging on crap necessarily, I felt like I was living somewhat normally. But I would say a normal average day, I would wake up, I would always have my coffee first, always. And then maybe sometimes would skip breakfast. But if I didn't, I would go through Starbucks and get one of their breakfast sandwiches. I was a sugar dragon. I was obsessed with sugar. I needed it. I was starving all the time. That's how I felt. I would have I might even have a salad for lunch, but then I would follow it up with garlic bread.
Yeah.
Just a lot of carbs. And then for the nighttime again, I was craving carbs. So I would cook spaghetti or macaroni and cheese. And I would seriously end the day. I have numbers where I've sat down and tracked them. I wish I would have brought them. I'll send them to you later. But at the end of the day, my carbs would just be out of control. And my protein was I look back and I'm like, how's that even literally, it's hard to only hit 40 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
But I was not eating any protein. That's yeah. So that's how my eating was. I was just very sporadic, carb heavy, sugar heavy, not nearly enough protein.
Were you drinking water, or was it a lot of other types of beverages?
I was drinking, I feel a decent amount of water, probably not enough. And I'm not a huge drinker in general, so alcohol and whatnot. And so I wouldn't even say that was a big issue. If anything, it was Dr. Pepper, that I was justifying. Cause I'm well, this is an alcohol, but it's terrible for you. So a lot of that, I feel but also I feel a lot of the liquid calories come from coffees that you don't even realize are just totally jacked up with sugar and all kinds of things. I was a huge Starbucks girly at that point in my life, and I haven't been to Starbucks in a really long time. I've no shame if you do that, but it just is. I can't go back because I know too much now.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, I used to drink a lot of Starbucks too. This is actually a funny story. So when I was in college, I drank so much coffee, and I didn't know that I had caffeine-induced anxiety. That Nick, he's my husband now, he's my boyfriend at the time, he would always say to me, "Why do you always try to break up with me after getting back from Starbucks?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? I don't do that." And he was like, "Just watch, you do." And then sure enough, the next time I went to Starbucks, I was driving back to college campus, and I was like, oh, I need to go break up with Nick. And then he was like, see? And he was like, what happens if you stop going to Starbucks? I bet you would be actually happy in our relationship. And I was like, should I stop going to Starbucks? And he was like, try not drinking coffee for a month and see what happens. And sure enough, never had a desire to break up with him after that.
Seriously? So do you drink any caffeine now?
I do matcha, but that's it. Yeah, okay. It's a lot less caffeine and a lot slower release than coffee. So yeah. Yeah.
It's probably about time that I coffee for me over the last 18 months of just this health transformation. it's just like my one thing that I'm like, oh, like it's just such a ritual. And like, and I've made it healthier with protein, and I definitely always eat before I have it, but like it's still, but I know it's not great for me.
Coffee's connected to you on a soul level.
Like,
guys, her shirt says coffee. It's like just a shirt that just says coffee on it. I'm dead. I didn't even notice that. That's so funny.
I know. I just realized like, oh man, I have to.
Okay. So you were in this place where you were realizing that you didn't recognize yourself anymore. Something needed to change. And fast forward to now, you have lost over 100 pounds.
Yeah.
So what the heck did you do?
So wild to hear you say that. I think I'm at 104 pounds. I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. There's still like, I feel like now like my mission is to build muscle and just like be as strong as I can. But so last year, right? We're in 2025. So last March, I went to Disney World with my family for the first time with my 8-year-old son. I was 100 pounds overweight. It was lovely. And I'm sure it would be even more lovely if we went back now that I am much healthier. But it was such a hard week for me, physically and honestly, emotionally, because I was just like, I am not keeping up with my family the way that I have always dreamed I would, like going to Disney World. So I think that was kind of like my aha moment of like, nobody's coming to save me. This is not going to change unless I change something. And so we got back from that trip, and I remember walking into the house, and I had talked to Sam a little bit of like, because there had been times before that I had started, like to make changes and seen a little bit of success, but then life would get stressful and I would fizzle out or whatever. But like, I think I just really realized like my kid is growing up, and if I don't change something, he's going to grow up with like a morbidly obese mother who is unable to care for him in the way he deserves to be cared for. And so I came home and I was like, Sam, this is like, I need you to be on board all the way. My precious, wonderful husband, I swear, can eat anything he wants. And he's just like,
Same.
He doesn't he hasn't had lab work in a while. I'd be curious to see what that would show. But anyways, so like, he's just, like most men has a high, like just a fast metabolism.
Yeah. It's so unfair.
It really is. And so, I basically just said like, I need you to speak accountability over me and basically say like, what have you seen in the past that just like has kept me from being able to be successful? And as my best friend, like what can we do together to make this sustainable? Because my problem was like, as soon as, I'm from Texas, so Whataburger is like a huge thing here. I don't know if you've ever had it. Have you ever? Yeah. Okay. God bless. It's the best. I still eat it every now and then. But he would like bring that in, and then I would fall off the wagon. And I'm very like, my personality is very like, I'm either over here or I'm over here. Like I'm extreme one way or the other. If I do it all the way. And then if I mess up, I'm like, well, forget it. Like there's no point, and so I go all the way to the other. But we decided like, hey, let's just, what I said earlier, like food in a lot of ways is what has gotten you to this point. Overeating, but undernourishing. Like, and I took a long, hard look at like what my actual days of eating were like. And I realized like I had so many calories and so little nourishment. Like I was not eating the things that God has given us to truly nourish our bodies. And, to get, a little bit even more layered for me as a woman who was experiencing infertility, this thing that I, from as far as I can remember, I've wanted to be a mom of many children, and to go through this and to feel like your body is just constantly fighting against you, like you're not doing this thing that you felt like you were created to do, that you're seeing women all around you do multiple times over. There is a very real identity crisis, like a confidence, whatever it is. And I started to believe in the depths, in the core of me, that I was not worthy of nourishment because I was unable to provide to my husband another child, to myself, another child, but more than all of that, to my son, a sibling. And so the intensity of that, I think I just started to say, like, internally, I don't think I really realized it, and it took me a long time to realize, but I think I just thought, oh, well, like, I'm not worth healing. I'm not worth, for so long it had been about what can I do to get pregnant? What can I do in order to get pregnant? Like, that was my life's mission. And when I realized that God had said no up until then, and it's not, I can't control the outcome. He is sovereign and he is good. And while I don't understand it, his answer has been no for now. Like, it was very hard for me to, like, really wrap my head around that. And I felt very angry for a very long time. And I really just stopped nourishing myself.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, in one word, nourishment is what changed. And I think that really hacks a lot of people off. They're like, I mean, I have not figured it all out. Like, I need to figure out how to really move my body in a way that's like life-giving to me, that I enjoy, you know? There's so many things that I still need to work on. So I definitely don't have it figured out. But once I started realizing, like, oh, if I do this in a balanced way and consistently, it doesn't feel all consuming. It doesn't feel completely unattainable. And I'm seeing the scale change. And I think I just became aware of, like, how much my life was changing as I was losing weight. Not necessarily because of the weight, but because of the confidence it was giving me to see something shift, you know?
Yeah.
And to be able to show up in my life in a different way. So.
Hey, new parents, if you're looking for an all-in-one resource to create a toxin-free baby registry, you need to grab a copy of my viral guide, OrganiBaby, which has been downloaded by thousands of parents since I launched it in December 2023. OrganiBaby covers what materials and ingredients to avoid in baby items, what materials and ingredients to look for, safe and recommended baby brands, and everything I personally have on hand for my own babies. OrganiBaby is organized into the same exact categories as BabyList, so creating a toxin-free baby registry has literally never been easier. OrganiMama Podcast listeners can get 20% off OrganiBaby with code PODCAST, and the link for OrganiBaby is down in today's show notes. So during your weight loss journey, and I mean, you could include now as well, compared to a regular day of eating like you described before, what does a regular day of eating look like for you at this point?
Yeah. So I always eat when I wake up, and I used to not. Like I said, I would drink coffee and then I would eat later maybe. But I always eat. I wake up, like, hungry, but not, like, ravenous. I'm not like, I could eat my refrigerator. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to eat. Like, so this morning, for example, I had, I think, 2 eggs with a scoop of cottage cheese in them. And then I had 2 links of chicken sausage. And then I had fruit with Greek yogurt. So, like, I had a decently big meal for breakfast. And then I had my protein coffee. So I'm a weirdo, and I have raw egg yolk every day.
Love it.
A lot of people are deeply concerned.
Are those from your own chickens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would do it if I wasn't, like, sourcing from a farm, like a local farm or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do it, and I seriously love it. I feel like it has been such a game changer for so many things. But anyway, so I have a very protein heavy coffee pretty much every day. I do that. And then for lunch, I'll have, like, I typically meal prep, which has helped me so much. Cannot stress the value of meal prepping enough. It relieves so much of my overwhelm, because for me, it might sound selfish, which it's not at all, but, like, if I prep for myself, not for my family, not for Judah, not for my husband, if I prep for myself 2 meals a week that I can eat on all week and just grab from the fridge, and then I always, like, have fun with dinner, and I cook, and Judah cooks with me, and it's like a family thing. It's a ritual in our home, a rhythm that we love. But if I prep those 2 meals, like, I'm good. Like, I'm able to stay on track and, like, really nourish myself well throughout the day because I used to go without eating for, like, 5 or 6 hours, and then I was starving, and I would go through Chick-fil-A or whatever it was too often. We were all about like, we eat Chick-fil-A every now and then, and we have pizza nights here and those things like that. Like that was also super important to me. I never wanted, because I knew I was going to be actively losing weight in front of my son, who is very impressionable. And I never wanted to make it about that in front of him. I never wanted him to even really know that mommy was like losing weight. And I don't think he really ever did. Like there were times, I shared this on another podcast that I was on recently, but like we have a Disney World book that we ordered after our trip, and he opened the Disney World book and we were looking through it, and he literally saw a picture of me and he said, "Who is that?"
Wow.
So like in his brain, you know, like it's just been so slow of a gradual thing that like but it's not something we celebrate in this home. Nourishing well. We don't celebrate taking foods away. We don't celebrate not having sugar or being good, or we celebrate when our plates are full of something that is going to feed our body and help us to be who God has created us to be. That is the goal.
More about adding more of the good things rather than taking away the quote unquote bad things.
100%.
I love that. I love that. What do you think was one of the biggest hurdles for you during this weight loss process?
Oh man. That's such a good question. I feel like there have been so many. I feel like there's maybe twofold, like physically, the biggest hurdle, for me was consistency. And I think that especially in the beginning, the first honestly, I hate to say this, but 5 months were really hard because I was so addicted to sugar, and I was so addicted to, it wasn't just about sugar. It was an emotional thing for me. And so I was so used to using that like literally as a drug to kind of like calm me, you know, in the thick of our infertility. And so that was really, really difficult. Just the physical of like, I feel so hungry, but I realize this is like a sugar addiction talking. And instead of having the spaghetti, I'm going to have a really big, juicy steak, you know, and like shift my focus a little bit. But emotionally and mentally, I feel like the most challenging thing, gosh, there's been so many, but holding myself accountable to understanding that while my size might have changed and it has shifted, it doesn't make me any more valuable at this size than I was at this size. And it's such a bizarre thing to go through, like seeing your body change, because for me, it's been about 18 months, but that's like, and that seems like a long time, but that's not a very long time.
No.
Like, especially after you've been overweight for a very long time. And so holding myself accountable to like speaking truth over my body in all stages, and realizing that like my life is not better now because I'm thinner, right? Like my life is better now, and it is, and I'm not going to lie about that. Like I am happier. I am more fulfilled. I feel like my life has improved significantly, but I truly do believe it's because at a cellular level, I am nourished.
Yeah.
And I have all of the things I need in order to function the way that like God, like I said, God has designed me to.
And so the weight loss was like a byproduct of you learning how to treat your body in the way it needed to be treated.
Yes. And for a long time, I really struggled with like, do I want to just like, cause if you go onto like my Instagram, you see like, I have done like the same 3 types of reels for the last year. And that is what has allowed the growth and things like that. And the thing that people can see is the weight loss, like the visual thing. Right. And so it's more natural to focus on that and to talk about that. But man, like that is just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of like the actual transformation, you know?
Do you feel like there's been a lot of healing for you on like an emotional level that has contributed to where you're at with your health now?
I feel like there has been some. I feel like for sure, just like over time, as I have seen progress and like seen my body do what I feel like it can do in terms of healing through food, I feel like that has been redemptive in a way. But I mean, candidly, I have so far to go.
Yeah.
Like I have
Don't we all?
Yeah. And infertility is such a bizarre like thing because I'm 35. So like since I was 25 up until now, the last decade of my life, like everyone around me, like that's when you grow your family typically. Yeah. And like, I'm in the Bible Belt too. So it starts early. I feel like, people are popping out babies young and they, and it's a beautiful thing. But when you are unable to do that, it is deeply traumatic and causes all kinds of just questions and things like that. And so, I mean, I have a appointment with my therapist tomorrow. Like I'm still very much in the thick of healing. And I think I will be for real. I don't know that I'll ever heal from losing babies and not being able to grow our family, biologically and things. I don't know that will ever happen until heaven, and thank God for heaven.
Yeah.
Our hope is there. It's not here. And so I cling to that.
So in terms of your journey with fertility, at this point, are you still hoping for a biological pregnancy, or where are you kind of at with that in terms of what you see happening over the next 10 years or so?
Yeah, that's like the big question and the challenging question because so for me, I didn't mention this, and I should have because it's a huge piece of our journey, but I was diagnosed with endometriosis, in 2020, I think. And so it took me 15 years to get a diagnosis. I had really terrible periods growing up, like lots of signs, but no doctor ever said to me, hey, this is probably endo. It took me so long. And that's very common, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But once I finally did, I had excision surgery and I had a surgeon say, hey, we think you might have adenomyosis as well, which is essentially like endometriosis of the uterus. Like it's in the uterine wall. And so it creates so much inflammation that it's basically just like toxic ground.
Wow.
So they determine like, hey, we're pretty sure you're conceiving. Like you're conceiving, but implantation is not happening because your uterus is so inflamed.
Wow.
And so what was your question, Kristen? I'm sorry.
Just where you're at now. Yep.
Yes. And so that creates like such a interesting dynamic because it's like, okay, well, on one hand, I have doctors telling me to get a hysterectomy right now at age 35 because my organ is not well. It's sick. Right. But on the other hand, I'm like, but my God, like you haven't met my God who can do abundantly more than you could ever even think. And so it's this balance of like, hey, like God, please give me like such clarity on when the time is. Like we have not closed that door by any means, but we are trying to be faithful and like walking forward and just say like, hey, like what's the next natural best step? And so, I would say I probably will hope for biological children until the morning of my hysterectomy, if I ever have one.
Yeah.
Like I just won't lose hope for that. Because what a gift, right?
Yeah.
But I have also learned that motherhood is like, it's just so much more. And I think in our culture, especially in the wellness culture and the Christian wellness culture, this is not a bad thing, but motherhood is honestly like almost idolatry.
Oh,
like
100%.
It has become, I have a dear, dear friend who loves Jesus more than anybody I've literally ever met. She stayed with us for a couple of weeks recently, and she is my age. She's 35 and she's single. She's in ministry. She just has not found the one. Mm-hmm. And she deeply desires to have a family and to be a mom. And she's like, man, I can't even like go into those places of the internet because it is so over the top. Like your whole identity is motherhood. And I'm like, but that's not what God has written for me. And that doesn't make me any less of a woman. Yeah. Like, and the reality is that she's a mother. She's like, I feel like she's my mom in a lot of ways. Like she's a mother to so many in a different way. And so anyway, I've had to really ask myself the hard questions of like, if this is what God has written for you and wants for you, do you truly believe that this is the best thing? Like, do you believe that God is good to his core and sovereign to his core? And are you able to like say, okay, I don't feel like God has just given us the red light of like, stop hoping, stop trying. But we are actively pursuing adoption. We are so excited about that. We feel like there are so many other ways that you can grow your family in a beautiful, redemptive way. And so that's kind of where we're at with that.
You have the, unique perspective of navigating secondary infertility, which I feel like I have not experienced it, but just by seeing your journey and other friends of mine that have navigated similar things, it seems to me that it's extra hard in some ways because you almost feel like you don't deserve to struggle.
100%.
I would be curious to hear you just touch on that or give some thoughts on it, because I'm sure there are people in that same boat who are listening right now.
I'm so glad you asked that question. Nobody has ever asked me that question. And I feel like it is, man, it's so challenging because I am, it's an interesting perspective and we had a loss before we ever had a child, and we had like a struggle, like we saw, okay, maybe this is going to be harder for us. So I had a very small taste of what if I am never able to carry a biological child. But that, like, I am able to recognize that the fact that I have a child who is healthy, who I was able to grow in my womb, like, that is just a gift that so many women out there would literally give anything for.
Yeah.
And so I have to acknowledge that, and I have to see that and acknowledge that the pain is different, right? And like there have been times, it is very unique because I don't feel like there really is a space for women who are struggling through secondary infertility.
Yeah.
And that's never been something I've wanted to create because I'm in it. I'm in the thick of it. And I don't feel like that's something that like I should be doing right now. It would be healthy for me to do, to facilitate like a place for women. I hope that one day I can do that. But like I've been in, Bible studies or like infertility support groups where I'm in a room full of women and like I'm the only one that has a healthy child at home. And even though I've been in the season of infertility for so many years, I know that those women are looking at me oftentimes like, you don't belong here. Like you have a kid to go home to. That's all I would give anything. And so interestingly enough, I also have walked with so many women who have experienced infertility or miscarriage or whatever, who now have 3 kids or 4 kids. I mean, honestly, I think I would say I maybe have 1 or 2 acquaintances, not good friends, who have not gone on to experience redemption in that part of their life.
Yeah.
Like the vast majority of my friends have gone on to have multiple children. And so first of all, praise God, because I would just never wish like infertility and the process of that on anyone. But I'll tell you what will challenge you to like really die to yourself and hold yourself accountable to like, hey, life is to be celebrated, even if it's not in your womb. Like, so every birth announcement, I cry, I take my minute and I wrestle with God and I cry out to him and I go to my husband and I feel the feelings, but I also have like learned how to celebrate and to host the baby showers and to show up for my people, because I know better than most that any life is a miracle and is to be celebrated. And so yeah, it's an interesting perspective to have. And I don't love that I'm the one that has to have it.
I don't love it either. Yeah.
But God is good and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a lot of reasons for our infertility, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah. Wow. That's like literally so just raw and inspiring to hear you share that. And I know that that's like coming straight from your heart too, everything you're saying. I know that you mean all of it too. So
yeah.
Wow. I feel like I have a lot I could learn from you just in terms of like praising the Lord in the midst of deep sorrow. it's not an easy thing to learn. And I don't know if this has been the case for you too, but I know that the story of Job has been a real like lifeline for me over the past couple of years with just a lot of the loss that my family has experienced, not in fertility, but in other areas, of just someone who would literally have every single thing stripped away from him. And then he would just say like, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And I'm like, dude lost his wife, his kids, his house, his farm, like all of his money.
That poor man, like,
I know.
Like,
I know.
That'll take place really quick. And I think it's also so important to like note that when we're in the thick of like our pain, it feels like you're the only one that's experiencing the pain, right? But like the reality is, and we've seen that firsthand this week with everything happening in Texas and the flooding, like that's a completely different type of pain that I hope and I pray I never have to experience. But like, we are all human and none of us are immune to deep grief. Like at some point it's going to happen. And also at some point there's going to be deep joy. And that's just the human experience. And like, thank God for it because we need Jesus like deeply. I have no idea how I would have done this without Jesus. I do not know. I don't know.
One of the things I think about a lot when I'm in public places, especially if I can see people like acting out in whatever it is, like maybe it's like on the road, somebody's honking at me or like waving their hands at me like I did something wrong. And I'm like, calm down. One thing I like to always think about, no matter what the scenario is that every single person out there has big things and little things going on in their life in that moment. Big, huge things that are impacting them on like a psychological, spiritual, emotional level. And then little things about their day that have either gone well or not gone well. And that's all adding up to any moment, and just to extend so much grace to people because we only know our own lives and we have no clue what other people are walking through. And I feel like just having that mindset, I don't always remember that. Sometimes I flash my hands back at them, but I don't always remember that. But when I do, it's really helpful because then I can just be like, okay, I don't know. They've got stuff going on. I don't know what it is, but I just need to have grace. And the
world would be such a brighter place if that was all of our perspectives.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It's so true. Like it's so true. It is. It's so true.
Yeah.
So even if it's not infertility, it's something. At some point, somebody's going to be in the middle of something, right?
Yeah.
And feel like there is no hope. But the reality and something that I've learned over time is that truly, like our time here is so minimal compared to what I know is waiting for us in eternity. And I like that like heavenly perspective is invaluable when it comes to grief because it's the truth. Like we have that hope in Jesus. Thank goodness.
Yeah. And you have some little people waiting up there for you too.
No, I know. I think about that all the time.
I'm sure you do.
Judah, like that's been another facet of this that's been really cool to watch. And Judah became a Christian this year. Oh. And I truly believe that like walking with him, because we've always been like appropriately very upfront about our journey with him. And he knows like for him, you know, like when he was 5 and 4 and he didn't understand like his friends, you know, their mommies had babies in their tummies and I didn't. And so we would talk about how mommy has some yucky stuff in her tummy that makes it really hard for babies to live there and to be safe. But like, what a miracle you are. Like, you're like a freaking superhero, dude. You made it through my tummy and like, you're here and God has the biggest plans for you here. And so he has seen firsthand, like he understands his worth and he understands like, you know, his value, but he also understands what it is to want something because he wants a sibling so deeply.
Yeah.
And desperately. And he understands what it is to want something and to pray for something. We've prayed for a baby almost every night of his life.
Wow.
Like, the answer has been no. And God has said no, but is God still good? 1,000%. And so walking with him in that and him finally coming to the realization of like, oh, like, I mean, on his level, right? On a child's like level, but like the faith that he has exhibited this year. And when he came to us and like Sam and I literally said like, if his salvation is like the reason God allowed our infertility, has it been worth it? We would do it 1,000,000 times over.
Wow.
Like,
I have chills. That's crazy.
Yeah. So God is good. He is in the business of truly bringing redemption. It just won't always look like a baby and that's okay. it's tough, but it's okay.
Wow, your faith is so incredible to see, Mal. That is just, wow.
It doesn't always look like this, so please don't get that impression. It's ugly a lot of days, but
we're only human. So now you're showing up online to help other women.
Hopefully,
and that is really cool to watch as well. Especially, it's been so fun to see your account just get so much traction over the last few months. You deserve it. I mean, more than anyone really that I know, just with all the things that you offer to women to help them. So can you tell us a little bit about like, what is it that you offer to help encourage other women to learn how to nourish their bodies in through what you've learned yourself?
Yeah. So I remember just fun side note, the very first day I changed my account, because it used to be MalloryMorgan.co. And then I texted you and Jordan the day that I changed it to Her Healthy Home. And I was like, hope this goes well. Like after that, like it took a while, but it finally gained traction. So that's just fun that you've been a piece of that and whatnot. But the primary thing that I am like hyper fixated, focused on is teaching women how to nourish well. Like I believe that you are worthy of nourishment. And so we do that through a monthly meal plan, which is literally the meal plan I follow. So I literally write out my meal plan and I go through it and then we post it for that month. And then like basically people are about a month behind me.
Okay.
And so we do that. It's high protein, it's nutrient dense. It's everything that I felt like I needed and honestly cooked through. I fell in love with food when we went through all this because I had this cute little kitchen and I wanted to cook. And so we started to cook and started to create recipes and things like that. And so the meal plan is the number one way that I serve like my community. But I also am like a firm believer in like providing as much value as I possibly can for free, which you do so well as well. And so hopefully like even if a meal plan is not like in the budget for my community, hopefully they can come to my space and like learn and be encouraged and have recipes and things like that to serve them.
Yeah, that's amazing. So the meal plan that you share is like the same plan that you followed for the last 18 months as you've been on your weight loss journey and like overall nourishment journey.
Literally, yeah.
That's
like
amazing.
Yeah. So typically it's, and you know, sometimes it looks differently for our family. Like this summer, it's weird because we're traveling. And so there are like last month, we took like almost 2 weeks off the meal plan. Like full disclosure, I did not like follow it at all because we were traveling and whatnot. But like, yes, like it's the same meals, it's the same things, it's the same macros. I kind of go through like, because my system is not complicated and it's not my system. Like it's very like well known, like, hey, eat more protein. Make sure you're still eating fiber though. Don't villainize foods. Like stay nourished, stay balanced. Like that really is the approach. And so I try and make it as simple and like clear and clean cut as possible. Cause I am not like good at like following plans like that unless they're just like hyper simplified.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise it feels too much, too overwhelming. And so yeah, that's really the goal it's called Her Nourished Table is the meal plan. And that's the goal with that.
Awesome. And we will link that in the show notes. And then also you have done a pretty deep dive in the last couple of years into like pro-metabolic, right? And that's pretty close to what you follow or mostly what you follow for eating.
Yeah. I don't really say that word super often because I feel like people are like, what are you talking about? And when it's like really stripped down and layered, I just feel like it's pro-metabolic is nourishing yourself. Like finding the most nutrient dense foods that are going to be as bioavailable and absorbable as possible. But yes, pro-metabolic is like that realm really changed my perspective on like what food really is and like how we can use it again to heal us instead of kill us.
Yeah. What makes pro-metabolic different from something like paleo or keto or something like that?
Yeah. So I feel like I've done it all at this point. And I will say that I feel like first there are a lot of like misconceptions about pro-metabolic. Like I feel like in the online space, like people think that it's like very carb heavy and like drink all the milk you want and, you know, eat all the sourdough you want and drink maple syrup by the bottle. And like, it's like very like, and so a lot of people become pro-metabolic and they'll end up gaining a ton of weight. And I feel like they miss the whole point of like, what is this actually doing on a cellular level? Why is maple syrup okay? Well, it's okay because it has a much lower glycemic index, but also it's super mineral dense. And so you're actually giving your body the things that it really, really needs, right? At a cellular level. And so for me, I feel like it has much more balance than what keto might have, where keto really glorifies like a lot of fats and doesn't really talk a whole lot about fiber and things like that. Whereas pro-metabolic to me is just a much more balanced. I hesitate to use the word biblical, but really like if you go back and you look at the Bible and you look at what they ate and you think about what they ate, like it's very balanced in all of it, right? And there's no really like demonization. It's very much like whole foods. We celebrate like literally look at this. I just went out to the garden before I was with you, which I'm so glad because it rained, but like
beautiful, just like a huge pile of beautiful produce.
I know. I forget that we're like on a podcast, so people can't see it.
Yeah, they can't see it.
But yeah, like we celebrate real food and we try and stay away as much as we can from like the ultra processed. But my kid has had goldfish in the last month. Like, don't get me wrong. Like we have balance around here, especially when we're traveling. So
yes. Wow. Mallory, you just shared so many amazing nuggets. And I hope that everyone who's listening to this, no matter if they can really relate to your story or not, that they were able to take away something, a beautiful thing to carry with them today and into the future. So thank you so much for sharing. So honestly, I just really appreciate your vulnerability and willingness to share, because I know a lot of people that have been through what you've been through aren't really willing to talk about it. So I'm so grateful that you are willing to shine your light, essentially. And
thank you so much for having me, Kristen.
Yeah, it's just such an honor to hear your story, and I know so many people will be blessed by it. So you guys, you can find Mallory at her healthy home on Instagram, and we will tag her below in the show notes as well. Do you have any other places online where people can find you?
We are actively working on a blog, but it has not yet launched. So to be continued. I will let you know whenever that happens.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks again, Mallory. It was so nice chatting with you.
Love you, friend. Thank you for having me.
Hey friend, thanks for listening to today's episode of the OrganiMama Podcast. If you're looking for more ways to dive deeper into low-tox living, I want to tell you about my Organi Guides. In 2024, I wrote a series of digital guides that walks you through exactly how to rid your home of toxic possessions and chemicals. From kitchen equipment to bedding to paint to baby toys to your clothes and accessories. You'll learn exactly what materials and ingredients to avoid, what materials and ingredients are safe, and which brands and products I recommend as good, healthy options for your family. Listeners of the OrganiMama Podcast can get 20% off any of my Organi Guides using code PODCAST, and I've linked all the guides in the show notes for you below. As always, do your best and let go of the rest. Bye for now.